मेरे प्यारे खूनखार डाकू. I wasn't surprised when I didn't receive your reply to my previous letter. Even I thought it wasn't prudent on my part to refute almost all the points you made in the concluding paragraph of your previous letter to me. Well, if you think your silence, which I believe is either a consequence of your acceptance of defeat or mere lethargy, is going to register as a mark of exception, allow me to tell you, fortunately or unfortunately, that won't be so. I still believe the issue of black being the blackest color is dubious. You must concede to the fact that a certain shade of black, let's call it X for the purposes of convenience and my unabashed faith in mathematical rhetoric. Now, considering X has more blacker characteristics than black itself, at one stage, it will be free of the shackles of the broader class that is black. You will definitely notice that it will be able to free itself of that class even if its characteristics become less black. That is in fact true, but that is not the point, my friend. The point is, though it frees itself from the class, in both cases, it does not free itself from classification. I know while reading this, you will be appreciating my subtle usage of phrases. For example, me calling it less black instead of calling it white. However, I believe you remember our correspondence on how we are no more living in an age where we assume in complete ignorance that black is the opposite of white. We've come a long way, my friend. Opposites, antonyms, contradictions were on their deathbed in the year 2078, said the great scholar Julmi Jakarta. And if we were to be living in that year at this moment, we would surely commit the utter ignorant and racist mistake of thinking that the great scholar was from the archipelago which was then known as Indonesia. Anyways, allow me the liberty to inquire about the professional domain. How is your work progressing? These ancient texts are very strange indeed. Hundreds of letters have been exchanged between us in which you've taught me extensively, and I admire the helpful senior colleague that you are, but I still haven't gotten accustomed to the tedious procedure of translating these. They all seem to be in the same language, but I just can't get them. They're loaded with contradictions, irony, and other outdated instruments of diversity. It's hard to imagine how people lived their lives in that era with all those differences. And look at us. I'm so thankful we all have similar lives. Same things to use, to see, to live in, and to breathe, obviously. I was born here, and I was clueless about all these things here. But gradually I got a sense of my surroundings. The machine that produced me is still here. The midnight sun is an assistant. The rotator doesn't rotate until I take initiative. All these strange things that I can sit on are also comforting. The clickers produce sweet sounds. These texts, these sheets of paper, I think they should have called them newspapers. I don't know why, it just sounds nice. These talk about evolution. Apparently, our people once required things to be put in their mouths to stay alive. This seems so similar to the trees and birds I see outside my huge window. Though I know sun rays and air throughout the day are the only things we need to survive now. I've tried to put a few times the so-called food in me. These things are strange indeed. But you and these ancient texts have taught me everything. So much so that the huge window doesn't lure me to pursue any further inquiry. I look at myself and realize how we might be exactly similar. I trust the path of advancement we're moving on. I believe my face, my nose, my entire body is a facsimile of yours. Through these texts, I see the ancient civilization boiling with hate, and I pity them for what they couldn't achieve. The lust for uniformity has finally reached its culmination in the age we're living in. And this uniformity has expedited growth of our senses, our instincts, and our body structures. Our language has developed. We've anointed ourselves with pen names from an ancient language. Though I still doubt if it's Latin, as these texts would have me believe, to preserve the imperfect, chaotic, distant past. I would suggest you give a meaning to Mere Pyare, Khoonkhaar Daaku, yourself if you aren't able to deduce it. I still doubt if it's Latin, because Latin is ancient, even to our ancient, which should date back to, I don't know, but oh, look where we have reached. I have this theory. We do not suffer from all the redundant reminders of our past. I call them miscellanies. Death is obviously one of them. Yes, I am going to stay here forever and wait till something pops out of this machine that gave me birth. So yes, miscellanies. We don't suffer from eating, drinking, sexual activity, excretory disorder, feelings of discontent, dissent, diversity, etc., etc. However, there's this one miscellany we haven't overcome yet: sleep. With all unity, uniformity, and equity, I'm sure we'll overcome sleep one day. That day will come only if you stop thinking otherwise. Black isn't the blackest. We must all think likewise. तुम्हारा प्यारा सरफिरा लुटेरा.
Mere pyare Sarfira Lootera. I too doubt if this is Latin. I apologize for not replying to your previous letter. I have found a word to describe your letters. One of those outdated words in these ancient texts. It's called an oxymoron. I like the tongue snapping it brings in the pronunciation. Concurring with what you have said, I have started to think likewise. I commend your theory of miscellanies. You would be pleased to know that I have in fact found a way to overcome sleep. You would be even more pleased to know that it is in fact quite feasible. All you have to do is not think likewise, but think. Black is neither the blackest color, nor is it free from classification. Tumhara pyara Khoonkhaar Daaku.